Hiring an accountant for your small business before you're ready could be costing you $7,000 to $10,000 per year. My name's Alex. I'm a CPA with Stronghold Accounting, and my background was auditing the financials of publicly traded companies. And we're going to talk about when is the right time to be hiring an accountant for your small business. So, as a small business owner, when you're first in that startup mode from zero to $50,000 a year, you can kind of gauge. You know exactly who your customers are. You know exactly what your revenue is expected to be per month, and you know exactly what kind of expenses you're paying per month. To me, the point at which you need an accountant to start taking care of the books is when you start to have so much revenue and so many different expenses that when you think about your inflows and outflows in your head, you can't actually conceptualize if you were profitable or not in that prior month. So that feeling you get when you can't conceptualize the inflows and outflows of your business, that is when you know it's the right time to hire an accountant. And in terms of revenue range, that typically starts to hit around the $100,000 revenue range. I tell anyone that I have a consultation with, if you're under that $50,000 in profit, I recommend you don't hire an accountant at this time. And not a lot of accountants are going to tell you that because it just doesn't make sense in terms of ROI, right? A good accountant is going to charge you anywhere from, let's say, 600 to 800 a month for your small business. On an annual basis, that's around $9,600 that you'd be paying to an accountant when you could be using a Google spreadsheet, using an Excel sheet, right? Because when you're in that startup mode, priority number one is generating revenue. The last thing I want you to be thinking about is, oh my gosh, how do I do my accounting? How do I do my finances? We don't even know if this business is going to have revenue. We don't even know if you're going to be profitable. That is priority number one. Get revenue, get to about 100K in revenue. Once you hit about that magic number of $50,000 in net income, that is when it makes sense to hire a professional because your investment in that accountant is going to give you a 3 to 5x return on that investment in the form of tax savings, time saved, right? Because as an owner, your time is extremely valuable, and optimizing profit. If they do any kind of advisory and give you guidance, that investment is going to give you a 3 to 5x ROI. So to recap, if you're less than that $50,000 profit threshold, you can kind of gauge where you're at in terms of revenue and expenses in your head and track it on an Excel file or Google Sheet. I do not recommend you hire a professional, and a lot of people aren't going to tell you that, but once you hit that 50,000 in profit and you're starting to realize, oh my gosh, I can't really conceptualize where I'm at. I'd love to help you with your accounting because I don't like to work with a business unless I know I can give them a massive ROI on their investment. And the biggest thing is the compliance risk, right? Because one small risk can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I've seen it so many times. So having the expert guidance and having the peace of mind that an expert is taking over your accounting makes sense at that stage, but not before that. And so that is when you should be hiring an accountant. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Alex with Stronghold Accounting. I'm a CPA, and we help business owners with their accounting and advisory. And if you're interested in learning more about our services, check out strongholdaccountants.com/free consult. Thank you again for watching. Take care.